Border-Gavaskar Trophy. Well, whether it's India visiting Australia or Australia coming to India, no matter the format, no matter which team, whether it's the men's team or women's team playing the game of cricket, it's always exciting. So, with the Border-Gavaskar Trophy starting down under really very soon, here is us with a special episode of Diaries from Down Under. I'm Kalyani and this is Gomesh with us. This is going to Australia, Touchwood, for the to cover the most of the BGT. So let's start from that. Like the defending champions of the BGT are going into this series after 3 match. It's a first whitewash at home for them against New Zealand. Rohit Sharma is not there. Jasprit Bumrah is going to be the captain at Perth. The test match is not going to be at the old house at Waka, but it's going to be at the Optus Stadium, which is really close by to the old Waka Stadium. Two beautiful grounds in Western Australia. So let's start with what are we expecting from the series?
I think more than what we expect at this point, both India and Australia just couldn't wait to get the ball rolling, especially from an Indian point of view, because India have been off the field only for 3 weeks since that 3-day result in Mumbai, where India lost the series 3-0 to New Zealand. But very rarely does the main Indian team get 3 weeks off in the Indian calendar. Even though there is another international team that just recently played a T20 series in South Africa, but this 3 weeks has been felt pretty long because of the result that that happened in India back home here, where the first whitewash home series defeat in more than 12 years. So in all that considered, this brief pause or preparation, which is supposed to be a preparation for the series, felt longer than a lot of anticipation, a lot of mixed feelings as to I think players just can't wait to get on the field and get the ball rolling. And because obviously India doesn't have Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli is not in form, they have Jasprit Bumrah leading, they have very young squad in Yashasvi Jaiswal, Dhruv Jurel and Sarfaraz Khan, KL Rahul back at the top. A lot of mix and matches going on, a lot of puzzles to sort out. And waiting on it, kind of gives a edgy feeling, not just for the players as well, but also for the fans who at this point in time, probably not as hyped as they would have been had India won against New Zealand. But the Indian team just couldn't wait to get the ball rolling. And the exciting part is, of course, Jasprit Bumrah leading the team. Yes, he led in the one-off postponed test in England in 2022, but he's been one of those guys who's expressed outright that he wants to lead. He puts bowlers ahead of batters all the time and doesn't shy away from it. Everybody knows the smartness of what he holds, the intelligence he has as a cricketer, but how he is going to do as a captain, that's a different ball game altogether. He did not do well in that one-off test. India lost against England, but here he's going against an experienced campaigner in Pat Cummins. The picture of him and Pat Cummins with the trophy in the middle is something Indian fans would never have dreamt of. India's last fast bowling captain was probably Kapil Dev, and that tells a lot. Kapil Dev was an all-rounder. Here's a guy who takes offense if you call him right-arm medium pacer, and he wants to be known as right-arm fast bowler. Whether it was when he was 19 in the Mumbai Indians camp or on the eve of this first test 100%. Here as well. So how excited are you for these two fast bowling captains, pacer versus pacer, going in Perth, arguably one of the fastest surfaces there?
So one of my recent references from Perth, which is not from the Optus Stadium, but it is from the Waka, the old Waka ground, where South Africa and Australian women's team played a test match. The one thing that we all remember, whether it was watching the Ashes test matches or watching the previous editions of Border-Gavaskar Trophy, is that it's a heaven for pace bowlers. If you love pace bowling, this is the ground to be on. One of my all-time favorite memories of that ground is Ryan Harris taking that just getting the ball into the crack, and I think it was
2013
the
Ashes,
2013
Alistair
Ashes,
Cook.
Alistair Cook off stump, and that is something can only happen at Waka, or whether it was James Wins against Mitchell Stark, that wicket. So we're extremely excited to see the battle of the paces, but we also have to consider the fact that from the Australian point of view, the one person who has most wickets in Perth is Nathan Lyon, and he's a one wily spinner that he is, and he has the most wickets for Australia. So, how are you looking at the battle between one Mr. Ravichandran Ashwin and Nathan Lyon?
I think it's interesting that you mentioned Nathan Lyon, because Nathan Lyon being the lone spinner in the team, he gets a place assured, whereas Ashwin has been, the wrong side of the selection for a lot of reasons, because India, whenever they see such a pacey surface, they get excited, they overcompensate by picking four pacers, and it is not, historically, it has not gone well, whether it's in 2011 in Perth, or whether it's the Optus Stadium in 2018-19 where they went an all-pace attack. Whereas here, I think Ashwin, probably for the first time in a really long time, Ashwin is going to get a chance at playing Perth, where he has played limited overs and has a good record as well. But this is the first time he'll be playing a test match in this venue. Someone whose action would allow him to extract the bounce and make the most of it, and someone who can bring the bat pad into play a lot more than someone like Jadeja has in Australia.
True.
Yes, Jadeja's batting will be missed as such, but I think this is where someone like Nitish Reddy, someone like the possibility of playing Harshit Rana, both of whom are capable bats lower down the order. This is the luxury of having someone like Nitish Reddy might probably allow the Indian team to finally put the best spinner out there on the field. And they also have Washington Sundar in the mix as well. And from whatever we have seen, whatever reports we have seen, it seems Ashwin has been, taking a look at the pitch closely, monitoring it, and all that's happening. So while it's still not sure whether he'll take the field, I mean, he should.
Interesting to see.
He should. Even if he does, it'll be interesting to see. Also, because Australia has three left-handers, one at the top, Usman Khawaja. Travis set the thorn for India for the last 3 years, and then of course Alex Carey as well. And not to mention the battle between Steve Smith and R Ashwin, which essentially won India the BGT the last time around, apart from whatever everybody else did. But that battle won in Adelaide, won in Melbourne, gave India the edge. Not Adelaide, 36 all out. That's the memory that's from there. But anyway, let's purge it out and move on. Spinners battle is one thing. But speaking of Nitish and Harshit, it's not just the bowling. India have a lot to look forward to in the batting department as well. A lot of uncertainty with regards to Virat Kohli's form. But Australia loves Kohli.
And Kohli loves Australia. So I think one of the defining moments of the Border-Gavaskar test was, I think, his hundreds at Adelaide. First of all, it's a very beautiful ground to even watch cricket. And then he just found his form, I think, in those tests, and
first one is captain.
First, and it's just so much history. And I think whenever it has come to Kohli and Australia, again, no matter what the format has, he has found his way out of rut in Australia. And I think that is exactly why Australia are not taking his form lightly. No one is saying, and Shane Watson has also said that don't poke the bear. So basically, everyone knows what kind of a player Virat Kohli is.
The newspapers are, Rohit is the captain, Bumrah is the captain. But
advertisement is all about Virat Kohli. So he is going to be the most important player that they will have, of course. But there is one end of that spectrum is the experience. I think it's his 5th BGT Down Under, if I'm not wrong.
Since 2011.
Yeah, so it's like he has that amount of experience. So it'll be stupid to not take him lightly, and it's like, oh, he's not in the form or anything, because he has grades are grades for a reason, and he has found his rhythm back again and again, and I think that's what the players do. But the other end of the spectrum are the few Indian players, especially the batters, who are going to Australia for the first time, whether it is Yashasvi Jaiswal, or potentially Devdutt Padikkal, who had stayed back, and Dhruv Jurel, who has impressed a lot of Australians as well. So there is that gap of experience between these. Jurel has experience of playing in A games before and did relatively well for India, even though the result didn't go their way. So how are you looking at? Do you think that this is going to be like a litmus test for how well
I think,
these people
yeah,
can get? Yeah.
I think the biggest litmus test will be for Jaiswal,
Yeah.
who's been the breakout star for India in the last year and a half. But I mean, historically, if you look in the last 10 years, because obviously uh, the years before that was dominated by a packed Indian middle order who played for a long time. In the last 10 years, every time India went to Australia, they have come back home with a star for the next generation, whether it's Kohli in 2011 12 or Rahul, Vijay, and even Pujara in 2014-15, and 2018-19 it was Rishabh Pant who did really well, the 100 in Sydney
Yeah.
with Pujara again, and 2020-21 obviously Shubman Gill as well, who who it's not sure whether he'll play at this point, which comes as a big blow.
Yeah.
But I am excited to see who among these players is going to be that one player who, anybody who dominates Australia in Australia comes back as a star, because, it's Australia. So everything that happens there, gets, it's like what happens in Australia and England. Everything that happens there gets blown out of, not proportions as such, but blown up for the world to see.
You are
Like,
under microscope every
like
single time you go out to
yes,
bat.
like
Yeah.
Shamar Joseph, for example, how
Yeah, yeah.
he became an overnight sensation as such. These players are really good. Have been through the grind in domestic circuit, but here, right there, taking on Pat Cummins, Josh Hazelwood, Mitchell Stark, and Scott Boland and Nathan Lyon. This is where it is. This is the fight they would want, and I am extremely excited to see how Jurel, if played as a specialist batter, and Jaiswal goes. Padikkal, obviously, he might play in Perth, but whether he'll be continued depends, because Rohit Sharma will join the team on Sunday, and then Shubman Gill will be there as well. But these two players, I'm very excited to see how they go. Jaiswal, if he has a breakout season like Kohli did or like Pujara did, then that will set the tone for not just India but the series as well.
100%. Yeah. And also, Steve Smith, we have to talk about the little bit non-existent but existent elephant in the room, because he has always been a thorn in so many sides. Whether it's England, he has scored runs. Like, he is not found that he's not played Test cricket for the longest time. So
We talked about Kohli. I mean, I think Smith is under more pressure than Kohli, honestly.
true. Yeah.
He wanted to open and then he slid down as well, and
That experience didn't work.
yes, and he having struggled against India the last time around. Not just him, but the Australian team in general.
Yeah.
I think apart from say Steve Smith and Hazelwood and Nathan Lyon, a lot of players doesn't know what it is like to beat India in a Test series.
Yeah.
They haven't beaten India in more than a decade, and Pat Cummins wasn't a part of that series. So I think not just him, the Travis Head, Usman Khawaja, whoever is there, this batting especially will be all the more crucial.
Yeah.
But at the core of it is obviously Smith and Labuschagne. They had a century each probably last time around, but that didn't do much, and that wasn't enough because of how India kept bouncing back. And they've set the standard so high that this team is under pressure to do something really special. But the contest between Smith and Bumrah, the contest between Smith and Ashwin, the contest between who Harshit Rana if he plays, or someone like Siraj who's been struggling to form as well.
Yeah.
How these contests go, all the little intrinsic battles go, could well define the series as well. But all in all, I think just couldn't wait the series to start. It's going to be a long month and a half, and touchwood, hopefully I'll be there in Brisbane and take you all through from 3 to 5 Test matches as well. And hopefully by then the series will be still alive. A lot to look forward to as well, and there is a bit of romance about early morning waking up for an Australian summer, and how
Or not sleeping at all for us.
Yes.
So who knows?
So how, and I mean, Perth is an early start, like 7:30 Indian time.
Which is
All
good.
that is there, but both for India and Australia, how the first test goes could well determine the direction in which the series goes.
I mean, in the past, the first ball of the series was determine how the series will go, or even before the first ball of the series was ball, the series was determined how it's gonna go. I'm not gonna mention Ashes, any of the Ashes series here, but yep, that's it from us in this special episode of Diaries from Down Under. We hope that you enjoyed this Border-Gavaskar Trophy. More than these 5 matches, one thing is also on the line for these two sides, especially, is the run towards the mace. That is the ICC Test Championship trophy, which Australia has won once time. Their neighbors and Tasman friends in New Zealand have won one time, both against India.
Yeah.
So now it's very interesting battle now that India has lost that New Zealand series 3-0. 5 teams are in the run to make it to the final of the for that test match. So it's the test that are so many test matches are going to be around, so it couldn't be the better time as a if you are a test cricket fan to follow all these tests. We'll get you more and more updates.
Before signing off, what is the result that? Because last time
I
we
am
predicted
the
something,
worst thing.
me and Swaroop were said like India 3-0 New Zealand. That's, and we made a joke out of ourselves. New Zealand made a joke on us, but here, what do you expect?
I'm not counting Sydney Test match because of obvious reasons. We'll go to that when we talk about it. But I think 2-1 India.
Interesting. I think probably one of the very few has optimistically predicted India is going to win the series. I think Australia is going to win. Margin could be 3-2, could be 3-1, but happy to be proven wrong by the Indian team. Stay tuned to the TNI channels. Stay tuned to the social media handles. We will be giving you all the updates, not just from Australia, but also from Singapore, where Gukesh will play Dingliren for the World Chess Championship final as well. Our correspondent Swaroop Swaminathan will be there giving you all the updates. But for now, in this special episode, this is Kalyani and Gomesh signing off. Thank you for watching.